Good morning, and welcome to another edition of United Way for Southeastern Michigan's What's the Word Wednesday. My name is Courtney Howe, and today we will be joined by Lisa Machesky with the Oakland County Literacy Council to discuss adult literacy programs. Just a reminder that at the last 10 minutes of today's conversations, it's reserved for questions, so please leave your questions in the Q&A box if you're watching on Zoom or in the comment box on Facebook. Now, I would like to welcome Benita Sanders, United Way's Senior Director of K-12 Education and Digital Inclusion, to say a few words. Benita, welcome.
Thank you, Courtney. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to What's the Word Wednesday. As we kick off March's Reading Month, we wanted to make sure we share resources for everyone, including our adult learners. Literacy is a fundamental, basic right for all, and literate adults make our community stronger. They contribute to our economy, exercise their voice in their communities, and give their children a solid educational foundation. For over 35 years, the Oakland Literacy Council has helped thousands of adult learners become proficient readers, writers, and communicators. We are thrilled to have with us Lisa Machesky, the Executive Director of the Oakland Literacy Council, to discuss resources available for all of our adult learners. A little information about Lisa. Lisa, who has over 15 years in nonprofit leadership roles, has been the Executive Director of Oakland Literacy Council for the past 5 years. Under her leadership, the Oakland Literacy Council has expanded its program offerings and successfully transformed the instruction to a virtual platform this year in response to the pandemic. And must I say that is no easy feat. Lisa is passionate about growing and connecting organizations, maximizing their impact, and she is also one of the founding leaders of the Healthy Pontiac We Can. Lisa has an MBA from Oakland University and received her bachelor's degree from Albion College. Please join me in welcoming a partner of ours that we love, Lisa, to speak with us today. Thank you so much for being here, Lisa.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about adult literacy during Reading Month. March is Reading Month, and so often we think about the children in our community, but we don't often think about the adults and the links between adult literacy and childhood literacy. So I'm so happy to be here. So thank you very much, because it's Word Up Wednesday, and we're going to talk about words and literacy and what it all means. So we'll start with some definitions. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and here we go. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk to you today was, what is literacy? So we have a common understanding of what we think about the word literacy. So the United Nations has come up with a definition to the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. All right, that's a lot of big words, and what does it all mean? But one of the things that it means to us here at the Oakland Literacy Council is to make sure that people have the foundational skills that they need. It would be reading, writing, communicating. And so if you have some English language limited households or English limited persons, we're going to work with you getting your English language skills available so you could understand and interpret your environment. Digital literacy, which is one of our newer program offerings, and we also believe in numeracy, and we are piloting that program right now. But for what purpose? So literacy is a continuum of learning and enabling individuals to achieve their goals, to develop their knowledge and potential, and to participate fully in their community and the wider society. Okay, so that means being able to have enough skills to participate in the job market, having enough skills to participate with their educational goals, whether it's to get that technical training or more advanced degrees, or even to work with their child's educational bit. And then we have health literacy around being able to read prescription labels, to communicate to your doctor, to fill out all those health history forms, that sort of thing. Also to participate in faith communities, because literacy is required for those bits too. And hunger, as many of you know, it's been very hard to find some hunger resources, and you need to have some of those digital skills to know where to go and understand how to get there and get those things, and that's all part of literacy. And participating in society and with civic engagement and voting and those sorts of things. all that is literacy to the Oakland Literacy Council. And when we talk about adult literacy, we're talking about all of it. So who are our adult learners? Well, at OLC, adult learners are those that are 18 years or older and have reading, writing, speaking skills below the 9th grade. And now, because we're starting our math program, numeracy skills below the 9th grade. Those could be English language learners, or they could be adult basic education students. The picture we have here is of Sundus, who's one of our newest citizens in the United States. Just last month, she got her citizenship and her tutor helped her get that there. Sundus fled her home country of Iraq and gained political asylum here. She didn't speak English as she couldn't resume her career as a civil engineer, but she's been working with us for a couple of years. And last month she became independent and just became a citizen last month. So we're really excited of Sundus. And then we also have Cornelius here on the other side. Cornelius has never been formally educated. He grew up in the area, but never quite made it to school on a regular basis. He talks about how he learned a lot from PBS, but he's working with us. And one of the interesting things is we've diagnosed him a little bit with a reading disability. So we have a specialized curriculum to work with him to gain his reading skills, and he'll also digital literacy skills he's working on. He wants to get his GED. Other adult learners are GED learners. Our program does not provide that, but in the whole realm of adult learning, we also have the GED. People are working to get their high school completion. So adult learners are young. They're people like Hai Jing, who's looking to start a new career. She worked with us, her tutor, to build her English skills so she could go to nail technician school. So she's enrolled, and they were even visiting the school, the tutor and the student together. So this is a picture of her as she's starting her nail career. But they're also a little bit older. This is Robert. He started learning his reading, or working on his reading skills when he was 79. So he's never too late to learn. He was featured on Channel 4 a while back when he got his first library card. So our learners span all ages. They span all different countries. There's adult learners from in every state. There's adult learners in every county. There is adult learners everywhere, because learning is something that's a lifelong passion. And just because you didn't get the skills when you're young does not mean that you can't get the skills when you're a little bit older. So how big a problem is adult literacy in the United States? Well, we've got some stats for y'all. So 8 million adults need English language skills. For those who do speak English well, 8.7 million adults need a lot of help with literacy or math skills. They're at the 4th grade level or below. 2.9 million adults need a little help with literacy or math skills, the 5th to 8th grade level that'll kind of take them into being able to do GED level work. But here's where most of our adult learners are in our country. 19.7 million adults have a high school credential, but they do not have strong enough skills for post-secondary education or many of the training programs. This is something that's in our community at a high level. And when you add that all up, that's a lot of learners that need to be served. It's also something that isn't necessarily get the attention that childhood literacy gets. It's not a very well-funded problem in our society, but yet it contributes to so many other issues. What's the impact of illiteracy in the United States? So we know that there's 225 billion lost due to underemployment, unemployment in our society for those that don't have the skills necessary to have the jobs that we're talking about, that are growing and provide family sustaining wages. It's also a healthcare cost. Think about it, when you go to the doctors, you're given this prescription, you're giving all this materials, a summary of your office visit, and if you don't have the skills to follow up on it, or you look at your prescription label and it says, take twice a day, in the morning and the evening, if that doesn't all make sense to you for other reasons, you're not going to do it. And then you end up back in the hospital and all these things that are associated with healthcare. And having that ability to understand your health is an important part of our system. It's also related to crime in our community too. We know that 75% of state inmates did not complete high school or could be classified as low literate. So it's something that's in all of our different problems that we face in our society. Illiteracy is a big portion of that. But with COVID-19, digital literacy has really come to the forefront. As many of our office spaces have become virtual, those that don't have the digital skills do not have the jobs that can go virtual. And we saw that impact over this past year, and having to work with children who are now at home and trying to learn from home using digital skills. If you don't have those digital skills, it was really, really difficult, and it still continues to be a challenge. We know many of our students are missing from our educational environments, and this is a big part of what happened with that. Also now when we're starting to see the vaccines, if you're online and you're signing up with your health departments and all the different things, it becomes a real barrier to getting the health care that you need here in our society. So the digital literacy is something that's significant when we talk about adult literacy, because nearly 1/3 of American workers lack digital skills. And as you look at this chart, look at that, 13% none and 18% limited. Those are huge skill gaps in our community, and something that has a lot of racial connotations also. And when we start to break things down by racial composition. But one of the most important factors around adult literacy is it's passed down. It's something that we don't want to pass down, but we do. Studies continue to show that a parent's education is the single greatest factor in determining the future of their children as far as their educational attainment. When parents read to the children, they become much more likely to become strong leaders, readers themselves, but also without strong literacy skills, it's very hard to participate in your child's education, especially now when everything's virtual and things are being passed through emails and notes. And just if you start to think about, I don't know if you have all children or not, but the emails I get with the details around the COVID precautions and what's going to happen, and they are extremely complicated. And I might have some education, but I'm still confused by it. But if you're not able to read through that, and I think there's lots of school districts that aren't having the ability, because things are moving so fast, to really break it down for low literacy learners. So we really have to think about all the ways that we are connecting and communicating with people. And if you don't have those digital skills, you don't have those reading skills, numeracy skills, you really are facing a lot of barriers to full participation in our society. It's also essential for our workforce. Georgetown University predicts that 2/3 of new jobs in Michigan will require education and training beyond high school. And most of the community college work right now is all virtual. All the training programs are all virtual, but you have to have those basic reading and digital and math skills in order to attain those credentials. If we're going to meet the goals that we have for our workforce and the jobs that are available that have family sustaining wages, we really have to think about adult literacy. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what our students learn in our adult literacy program. Many work on reading. That's a fundamental skill, and we know that many of our students come with some very severely limited reading skills, and we've incorporated some new programming around reading disabilities to work with those with very low literacy skills. But there's also quite a few people that come to us needing just that little boost, that 4th through 8th grade level reading skills that you need to have in order to do GED level work. Everybody wants to just get their GED, but sometimes you just need to work a little bit on skills so that you can whiz through your GED work. Having those reading comprehension skills are so essential to being able to be successful in other types of programs. And basic writing skills are something that our tutors work with. English conversation skills are so important. Many times people are very afraid to participate in the community when they feel that they don't have enough skills to communicate, to figure out what they might need at a store, to figure out what they might need at the doctor's office. It really hinders people's ability to fully participate in society by not having those English conversation skills that they need. And obviously digital literacy, I talked a little bit more about that, is important. And we're piloting a math program right now. So we're very excited to finally get the funding to work on numeracy, because we know that the statistics show us, especially in our area, that numeracy is a higher need than basic reading skills. But one of the other things that we want to highlight is our ability to work with employers and workforce development professionals to think about job skills. One of the things that with adult learners is you really want to make sure that you're teaching things that people want to know. This is no longer high school where you have to just read all the books because you're told to read all the books. We want to build your skills in a way that's contextualized to what you need to do. If you're trying to get into a nail technician program, we're going to find ways to bring readings that are relevant to that field. We had a student in this week who wants to be a bricklayer or a tiler, and she's got this great personality and she wants to do that. So we're going to find ways to think about construction when we design her curriculum. She's also participating in a program with a Pontiac Talent Development Coalition that's working to put more people into the construction trades as a pre-apprenticeship program. So she'll be doing that training at the same time as we're working with her. So we're wanting to make sure that we're finding things that are very relevant to her. And her math problems will really focus on, you know, how much tile do you need to fill a room? You know, these are math skills that you need in order to achieve her career goals. We're also working heavily with job skills with the Pontiac Chamber of Commerce. Thanks to work funded by the United Way, they've really invested in our efforts in the city of Pontiac. And I want to give a shout out to you all for doing that, because we're really thinking about a whole community that needs some of these skills. And we're working in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce to do family literacy programming, so that they're working with the schools, we're working with the adults, and we can bring it all together in some different ways. And we're really excited about that. Okay, there we go. So our model is a little bit different than a traditional adult education model that you find in our K through 12 schools. We really believe in that personalized one-on-one instructions for a volunteer tutor. We are very relationship focused, because we know that so many people have had traumatic experiences in the schools, and that affects their confidence and their ability to learn. We had a woman in just this week that we have to do some initial testing just to figure out where you're at. And she was so frustrated by the process because she was not confident that she could, you know, we're talking about, this is not a big deal. We just have to get through this whole piece, but we can really build relationships in a way that you can't necessarily do in a classroom kind of thing. We also do group and online learning, making sure that people have self-study skills, our self-study tools like online curriculum, but also group instruction, especially for our conversation and our English language learners. It's a great way to build community, to talk about different things, and really share that experience of being an adult learner together. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you all about some of the pictures I've got here. So Donna and A says, we're visiting the DIA before COVID. So they start to really develop a strong relationship with each other. And the supplemental learning conversation groups have really grown with COVID. We found that the Zoom model works well for a lot of different things, and people can see each other face to face, and it provides a lifeline for many ESL learners. All right, but everything is virtual right now. We hope to return at some point to our face-to-face tutoring, but we really strongly believe that some of the virtual model will be with us for a long time coming. So I am done.
Lisa, we really appreciate this information. I know we have a few questions that are coming in, but I really want to touch first. If someone is interested in enrolling in your adult literacy program, how can they do so? And is there an assessment with that?
Yes, and actually I gotta go back one. There we go. So we got a slide for that. So let me put that back on. And yes, we do an assessment, but you need to be 18 years or older, live, work, or go to school in Oakland County. You can register at our website. We do a phone interview right now, and there is a reading or listening test, and we ask you to commit to at least 2 hours of tutoring per week, and online learning, and laptops and hotspots are available. You could also, there's other literacy organizations in the Metro Detroit region. If you go to www.nld.org, the National Literacy Directory, you can see some of them there.
Now, is there a cost to being a student, or is that something that is, there are other resources provided for that?
We provide free tutoring services. We do charge a $25 assessment fee, which can be waived fairly easily based on where you live or some of your economic circumstances.
Perfect. I really appreciate that. I know we have some other questions regarding becoming a volunteer. So we have people that's in the audience that wants to volunteer to be a tutor. How can they do that? And also how do you best match tutors with your students?
Okay. Well, one of the things that we found with COVID is that now, because everything's virtual, there's no geographic limits to our students and our tutors. We even have our tutors in California and New York, and we had a tutor earlier in the year from the Netherlands. So that was kind of exciting. We do expect you to at least commit 2 hours per week to work with your student, and there is some prep time with that. There's a 30-minute informational session on Facebook. You can find us there too. Kind of talking about what it is. It's a great way to learn a little bit more about it. There's an online learning module. And then we do have a full day of tutor training. And after you complete the training, you'll be matched with a student. We ask a little bit about your preferences, what type of student you might be interested in, which one do you think that you'll be able to form some great relationships with. We ask about hobbies, because we try to align students and tutors that way. They're always supported by staff. So we've got a tutor coordinator that'll work with you, help you find the instructional needs you do. And we also do some ongoing professional development.
Awesome. I know you talked about the digital divide work and then access to virtual learning. You know, not everyone has access to computers. Are there resources available for people who may need to get online? And how do you all support that?
Yes. So with our program, we are able to provide you digital literacy support. We have a digital literacy coordinator who works through some North Star curriculum, which is a curriculum based out of Minnesota, on the different practical aspects of digital learning, making sure that you know how to use a basic computer and making sure that you know how to use email, but also maybe some topics around information, how to find good information in the community. That internet has lots of really bad information, so we really try to focus a little bit on that. And if you have a need for a computer or a hotspot, we are also able to provide some resources around that.
That's great to hear. I know a lot of people are very interested in enrolling and also volunteering and raising their hands, so we appreciate that. Before we conclude with this town hall, is there any last things that you want to share with the audience, and how can they get in contact with you and the organization?
Okay, so the best way to contact us and our organization is www.oaklandliteracy.com. And we have a lot of information on our website. You'll be able to contact us directly that way. And I just want you all to think about adult literacy. It's an important part of our community. And when we think about March is Reading Month, we also need to think about the adults in our community, because one of the biggest predictors of our kids' success is the success of their parents.
Absolutely. Those are great closing words. And Lisa, we thank you so much for joining us. And I am going to give it back to Vanita. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Courtney. And thank you, Lisa, for being here with us today to help us all learn about the work of the Oakland Literacy Council. Additionally, we wanted to mention our virtual family literacy resource fair. I'm excited. This fair will be happening this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. We will be dropping the sign up link in the chat. As a reminder for those who may be experiencing a need, our 211 helpline remains available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are maintaining a running list of available resources in the community and can connect you to the supports that you need. You can also look up resources in your area by using our 211 resource database at unitedwaysem.org/211. Tax season is upon us. So tax season officially opened February the 12th. If you are in need of help with filing your taxes, there are several free opportunities available to individuals in our region. If your household income last year was below $57,000, you qualify for free, again, free virtual assistance from a tax preparation volunteer. Appointments are available now from the Accounting Aid Society and Wayne Metropolitan Community Action Agency, and can be made online at claimmyrefund.org. Additionally, United Way's My Free Taxes is a free tax filing tool available to anyone, regardless of income. Get started at myfreetaxes.com. Lastly, for our next town hall, speaking of tax help, join us next week for a conversation with 2 tax experts who will be on hand to discuss everything you need to know about filing your taxes. To see our previous town halls, please visit unitedwayscm.org/virtual town halls. The website is also included in the chat box. I want to thank Lisa. Thank you, Courtney. Thanks to the team behind the scenes. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Stay safe and take care of each other. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday.